Just want to welcome everyone, parents and educators, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to participate in this community review of our Japanese program. We're delighted to be here. So I'm going to speak first. My name is Scott Burns, and I'm the National Sales Manager. I'm going to talk a little bit about our company and about the ACTFL 5 Cs, which I'll get into in a little bit. Ruth Lin, who has the Cheng and Shui name under her banner there, she's actually our lead for Portland Public Schools, and she's a sales representative with Cheng and Shui, and she's going to talk to the Adventures in Japanese program and get into some detail about the content and resources and things. And then Dory Schultz, he's joining us as he's our manager of digital product, and he's going to talk about Fluency Link, which is our digital platform that we're really excited about. And it's a new platform in the sense that we've transitioned to that to accompany all of our programs, and so it's just been out a little over a year or so, and so we're very excited about that as well. So anyway, so we're based out of Boston, Massachusetts. So we're all speaking to you from the Northeast. I'm in Connecticut, Ruth's in the Boston area, and Dory is in the New York area. So we're all on the East Coast in a sense. All right, so a little bit more about Cheng and Shui. Our mission is bringing Asia to the world. And we're, a very specialized, publisher, and we have a singular focus. We've been around for 40 years, or 40 plus years, actually. The company was started in 1979, so we have a lot of experience, and we're very good at what we do, and because we're specialized, and just a little bit more about our focus. Our focus is very research-based. We develop our materials with very experienced, seasoned educators, and the quality of our product that we deliver is the highest standard. And we have quite a robust array of teaching resources available, and we're going to talk, some more about that. And then in terms of our products, we're very proud of the programs we've put out. We actually, I know we're talking about Adventures in Japanese today. We have another program called Integrated Chinese that's been around for decades, actually, and it's the far and away the best-selling program in North America, as is Adventures in Japanese. So we're very proud of the success of our programs. We also just launched a newer high school program on the Chinese side called Go Far with Chinese, and that's actually really becoming well established as well. So let's talk a little bit about our books, and I'll actually reference that as our programs, and the kind of benefits that we have. We're fully aligned to the ACTFL 5 Cs and the guiding principles for language learning. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that on the next slide, but ACTFL, for those that don't know, the acronym actually stands for American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages, and ACTFL has, a national meeting every year, and folks from across the country will get together and present sessions and things. And so, our programs are aligned to the 5 Cs, which I'll talk about on the next slide. Our programs are developed as proficiency based, so the focus on students' demonstration of desired learning outcomes. We promote real world communication, so using language in everyday situations, and then connecting language to cultural literacy. So we're building knowledge and understanding of other cultures. And then finally, we prepare students to take the advanced placement Japanese language and culture exam. So, we're focused right across the curriculum in high schools. And then I won't spend a lot of time on this. I mean, just to make you more familiar with, the ACTFL standards. So Adventures in Japanese was developed in accordance with the ACTFL World Readiness Standards. And so it has sections that specifically target the 5 C's. So this is the 5 C's. So they consist of, communication. So the idea, communicating in a language other than English. Communities refers to, participating in multilingual communities at home and around the world. Comparisons, that refers to, developing insight in the nature of language and culture. Cultures, well, I talked about this a little bit on the previous slide, but just, gaining a knowledge and understanding of other cultures, just the importance of that. And lastly is connections, and that's, connecting with other disciplines and acquiring information. So, it's really further knowledge of, disciplines through foreign language. And so those are the 5 areas that are considered, ACTFL World Readiness Standards, and the 5 C's being part of that. So Adventures in Japanese, we pay a lot of attention to those aspects. All right, so we're going to get more specific about Adventures in Japanese. So I'm going to turn it over to Ruth to take us through the curriculum learning path. So over to you, Ruth.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. So everyone already knows that I'm Ruth Lin. So I'm very glad that you attend this meeting and make the introduction of our products, books. So let's go. I'm going to talk about the books, Adventures Japanese, and also Deku. So you can see here for Adventures in Japanese, we have 3 volumes in total. We have volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. And for the fourth year study of high school, you can see we have the book Deku. So that I think that some of you may already know our books of Adventures in Japanese, because this book is very popular, in fact, and very widely, I think, that used that in high school and also some middle school, in America. So I know that we can offer, it's very flexible options, to the schools instructional, needs for the different kind of need from the schools and district and also teachers. I know that now from the Portland School District, you have 2 language programs for Japanese teaching. So you have World Language Program and you have the DLI language program. So DLI, I understand it is dual language immersion program. So most of the students from dual language program, already learned, Japanese for, I think, over 5 years from the kindergarten. So most of them already know the Japanese words, maybe around 200, I think, kanji. But no worry about that, for what levels and what the students usually, the beginners already learned the Japanese. We offered our curriculum learning path, to fit their needs. So our curriculum learning path, started with novice low to the intermediate high levels, based on the ACTFL language teaching levels. The ACTFL language teaching levels, I think that Scott just mentioned about that. So that means that path started with beginner students learning level and also to a higher level of Japanese, about the learning for AP test and also some cultural exam in the last year of high school. Okay, so I will go over about the format we offer. So the components. Yeah, I will be very quickly for this part. So what we offer, we have the print books and also we have the digital subscriptions. For the print books, for both Adventures in Japanese and the Deku, so we have textbook and we have workbook. And for teachers, you can have the teacher's guide to go, which is downloadable. You can download it from our website. And for the digital subscriptions, we have 2 versions, student edition and educators edition. For this part, I will not talk much here because we will have our colleague Dory will make a very detailed introduction later. Here, let's come to our book, Adventures in Japanese. In fact, Adventures in Japanese is ideal, Japanese language textbook for middle school and high school. So we put the students into a real life scenario and authentic Japanese experiences. And then maybe you already know that for currently the book already updated to the 4th edition. So that means that we already have updated it to a lot of contemporary photos and full color designs. We really encourage the students for the interpersonal communication, and also an understanding of grammars with the practice of and exercise activities. So we focus on the 4 language skills. And we always mentioned that speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So this book for adventures in Japanese aligned with actual world readiness standards. That's what Scott mentioned just now, 5 Cs. And also, it also meets the standards of Common Core State standards and the 21st century skills. This time, I will not mention another 2 standards. So if no matter it's teachers or parents, students, you want to know more about these 2 standards, just come to me, let me know later. Okay, so let's see the license topics. Here, there's covers some, most very often, used popular topics, but it's not from all the license of the books. So we covers for the first book, Adventures in Japanese Level 1. It covers the hobbies, families, shoppings, and it always starts with very basic things and self-introductions. And then we can say, we move to the volume 2, that we have sports, we have part-time jobs, we have Japanese food. But if you go to the volume 3, we found, a lot of topics is related to the cultural things. So that's things related to Japan. So we can have say that study abroad and Japanese entertainment, talking about kanji. You may be wondering, how this lessons are organized. So that's here we'll show you the overview. It's including about kanji, vocabulary, and the grammar. Yeah, so there's 3 volumes in total for Adventures in Japanese. So volume 1, it has 12 lessons, so 5 to 7 sections for each lesson. So I introduce 60 kanji, and then the student can learn basic vocabulary and traditional Japanese expressions, and also some basic grammar patterns in formal style. Now for volume 2, now it has 12 lessons, 4 sections per lesson, and it introduces 102 kanji. There are 30 to 40 new vocabulary per lesson. So the students can learn the basic grammar patterns, expressions, and also some new and complex grammar patterns. Please see here, there is some informal style introduced. So that's volume 1, we have the formal style here. We introduce some informal style expressions. For volume 3 books, it has 8 lessons, and there's 2 sections for per lesson. It contains 112 kanji and 40 new vocabulary per lesson. So student can review of formal style pattern expressions and new and complex grammar patterns. Yeah, we're very glad to tell you that for the volume 3, there is some practice of informal style. This is a kind of review for the volume 1 and volume 2. Now let's see kangaroo. Oh, sorry, Kikuru. Kikuru is our 4th book, as I always mention. This book is an AP Japanese preparation course book. You said the AP text, that means you will think, oh, that will be very high level of like language teaching or learning for students. Yes, it is. It has a lot of questions and access, and a practice are based on the type founded on AP exam. But it's not only a practice textbook. It in fact is a core textbook for higher level of Japanese teaching. It's ideal for students who already learned, the Japanese for 3 or 4 years in high school. It is aligned with actual proficiency guidelines, the same as Adventures in Japanese. It is based on Japanese national standards. Yeah, it has a lot of comprehensive vocabulary and grammar practice. Here, they also have the advice, for doing well on every part of the exam. This is a very special, things that we have for this book. And then totally, it has, 410 of that kanji it covered for the AP, levels request. And also the student can review all the vocabulary and kanji covered for adventures in Japanese 1, 2, 3. So you can see the connection between the Dekru and also adventures in Japanese. Because they really worked very well together. This is the same author, in fact. So we designed this book, learning can from the very beginner, student level until the AP levels. So that's from middle school until the high school. Okay, so we can see the topics here for the lesson. So there are 20 lessons, in fact, covering the topics, lots of topics, but all these topics are related and commonly you can find it in the AP test. So we can see that everything is from the daily life, and also, what my hobbies. Then we can to the technology things, transportations, also included the culture about the Japan life there. Okay, here's all about the license and the books introduction. So I want to move it to our online platform. That's a very exciting part to Dory.
Hi, thank you so much, Ruth. So our books, in addition to having physical textbooks and workbooks, our books and materials are also available via our online platform, Fluency Link. Would you mind skipping to the next slide, please? Fluency Link is available for teachers, students, and administrators, and it has a lot of really exciting features that we're super excited to tell you about. So first of all, being able to customize assessments. Teachers can provide personalized and differentiated learning by customizing assessments. That means not only can they use the assessments that we as a company have created, they can also edit those assessments to provide them to their students and personalize them for their classes, their students. They can also create their own assessments, which can be distributed electronically, done online by students, either on a full-size computer or laptop, or on a mobile device, and then graded at the teacher's leisure. Teachers can also extend to teaching and learning beyond the classroom through, as I mentioned, tablet, mobile, and offline access. Our technology setup is really, really something that we're proud of. We can manage student group rostering easily with OneRoster compliant files, Google Classroom, or several other integrations, depending on what your administrators and teachers need and require. There's auto grading, so that will save a lot of time for teachers. All of the multiple choice questions, all of the questions that are qualitative in nature, are quantitative in nature, rather, where there's only one right answer, that is all auto-graded by the system. And at the end of the day, the point of this platform is to empower a range of instructional models. So obviously remote and hybrid learning, as well as differentiated and personalized instruction, flipped classrooms, and more. So teachers can really use this platform in a lot of different ways. Next page, please, Ruth. Students can access course components anytime, anywhere. They can personalize their learning by creating highlights, bookmarks, and notes in their textbook. They can move through the materials at their own pace and move ahead to study more advanced materials or go back to study more remedial materials. They can complete interactive exercises for homework and practice. And they can also check their understanding using the workbook's auto feedback feature. Teachers, next page, Ruth, can easily manage rostering for multiple classes. They can differentiate learning among custom student groups. So this is something that a lot of teachers find really, really useful if they've got a classroom with a mixed group of learners, where maybe there are some heritage learners who speak Japanese at home, and there are also some learners who are a little bit newer to the language and have different levels of experience. Being able to differentiate by grouping students by ability level or needs is a really, really helpful way for students to get right size instruction. Teachers can also access additional teacher resources, including tests, quizzes, and worksheets. I already mentioned they can customize or pre-create entirely new assignments, and they can also measure student progress with detailed reporting and auto-graded student assignments. They've got some really detailed analytics I'm excited to show you. Finally, one feature that I'm really excited about is they can assign online speaking practice and then assess those practice questions anytime, anywhere. Next slide, Ruth. And I'm actually going to share my screen really quickly to come back. Can everyone see Fluency Link right now? Yes, great. So this is a student view. When a student logs into Fluency Link, they will see exactly this. This is assuming that student has been assigned Adventures in Japanese volumes 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, and if a student is only assigned one of these volumes, for example, Adventures in Japanese 2, they'll just see the textbook and the workbook. Up top, they'll see homework that their teacher has assigned. They'll see more robust tests that their teacher has assigned, and they'll get notifications. I'm really quickly going to show you, first of all, what a student sees when they open up a textbook. So they open up a textbook, and this looks like a traditional e-reader format. You've got single page or double page views. You can enable a full screen view. You can, of course, zoom in and zoom out. There are actually a lot of accessibility options for online learners using Fluency Link. You can navigate using a mouse. You can navigate using a keyboard. You can use text to speech for sight-impaired learners. It's really a wonderful way to support students with special needs. Students can also, add their own notes. They can highlight text. Let's say they wanted to highlight this little bit of text. It's really easy to just add a quick highlight, and that gets saved. So any page that they're on, they can find the spots that they've highlighted. They can bookmark pages easily. They can add notes. There's really a lot of kind of special things they can do. So note to self. Do homework, and that gets saved right there. There are also throughout the book audio resources for learners who are looking to improve their listening abilities, which is I think most learners, and this is all hotspotted in the book. So learners simply just have to click on a hotspot, and here you see this little dialog box popped up, and I'm not going to play it for all of you, but it's the pre-recorded audio with native speakers recorded with the dialogue. So they can not only read, but they can also listen on their own schedule. Learners can also navigate through audio recording just by clicking right here, and they can see all of the audio recording. And you can see by this list, there is a lot of audio content in this book. This is just one textbook. So it's a full year's worth of learning and practice in one spot. Learners can also access a spate of other documents. So here there are a lot of worksheets, there are additional resources, there are flashcards, there are all sorts of things that students might need. There are study guides. So, students can just click on this and this will pop up a little PDF with exactly the student's resource that they need. So here you can see this is loading, and these are all the printable resources that students might want to work with. Students also have their full workbook, which is right here, and all of the work that a teacher might assign for homework, for classwork, for assessments is held within this workbook. So they've got it in digital form right here, and they can also do assessments that teachers might assign. So really quickly, I'll just show you what an assessment might look like. And two of the things that I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you a real assessment, and I'm going to show you kind of a fake assessment, just to demonstrate what you see in Fluency Link. So a real assessment might look like this, and you can see the due date. You can start, save your work, and then complete. You can see what you missed. You can see what you've submitted, and you can see what's been graded by your teachers. When you click on an assessment that is due, for example, tomorrow, you see the assigned date, the due date, and the total questions. You just click Start Assessment. It just takes a moment. And here we've got some multiple choice questions. So I'm going to fill out some of these, and then I'm going to check my answer. And teachers can change whether or not they want students to be able to check their answers to see correct and incorrect answers. They can customize all of this. Students can skip through. They can either type in their answer here, or they can upload files, which will be shared with teachers. Similarly, again, students just type in their answers. And you can see we've got kind of a mix of a lot of different types of questions available to students. So I'm going to submit this. You see this is submitted. And then the auto-graded questions, you see the number that students got correct. You see what was skipped. You can see, I only partially answered one question. So one question is partially correct, 4 were skipped. And there you have it. So students see what they got right and what they got wrong, and then teachers can assess that really easily. The other thing that I wanted to show you was how speaking tests work. So speaking assignments can be given to students for homework or classwork, or work to do over a break or work to do on their own. And this is something that I found that teachers really appreciate, because in the traditional classroom paradigm, in order to test a student's speaking abilities, the students have to sort of wait around for one-on-one time with the teacher during class time, and it uses up really valuable instructional time so that the teacher can hear them all speak and assess them, and it's kind of a waste of everyone's time. But when you assign speaking homework using Fluency Link, students can start the assessment, and here this is not a real assessment from Fluency Link. This is one that I created. And it just says, record yourself talking about your favorite vacation in Japan. So students just simply from their laptop or from their phone or from their tablet, they click start recording. I'm recording my voice right now, and I could talk about my favorite vacation in Japan. Hopefully, if I was a student in a Japanese class, I would be saying this in Japanese. I've now completed a recording, and as soon as I hit submit, that gets sent to the teacher. So then the teacher can assess these, during a prep period, or, whenever that teacher has time. It is really a time saver for teachers. I'm now going to show you really quickly what teachers see. And let's take a quick look just so you can see some of the features that Fluency Link offers for teachers. So I'm logging in as a teacher, and you can see teachers see the exact same books. They see the same materials. This teacher happens to have just the Adventures in Japanese materials, but your teachers would, of course, also have access to Dekiru. Teachers can see a dashboard of everything that students have done. So here, we don't really have any usage data because this is, fake students, fake teachers. But teachers can just click in and they can see, oh, this student spent 1 hour and 31 seconds reading Adventures in Japanese 1. It's pretty awesome. Teachers can click in and see much more granular data. They can look at just one class. Here I've got 2 classes here, right? So teachers can look at it class by class. They can look at averages. They can look at all sorts of different data points. What they can also do is when they click into these areas, there's much more granular data. Again, I'm not going to waste your time finding another account with more data because this is a test account, but it's very granular. You've got a lot of graphs and figures for teachers to look at. Then if teachers want to assign work, all they do is they go to their standard tests, and here it's all the work in all the textbooks. So here, if they want to assign some work from AIJ lesson 3, right, they can just scroll right down or type it into the search bar. And AIJ, this is lesson 3 is going to be way down here. Here it is. So I just click here, and I'm going to assign this. I pick which class I want to assign it to. I'm going to assign it to Demo AIJ 1. I put in a due date, and let's make this available until next Friday the 14th at 11:55 p.m. And if teachers want to make it available after the due date, they just click right here. Otherwise, it's no longer available to students, and they hit save. That's it. It's been assigned. It's that quick. It's that easy. Other things that teachers might like to see is that they can upload files and share those files with students directly through Fluency Link. So here you've got a couple of files that have been shared with students. They can work on their rosters, and they can also look at their students. And as I mentioned earlier, group students by ability. So here, they would just click on group. Let's create a group of heritage learners. And all I have to do here is call it my heritage learners. I'm going to add one student to that group, and I hit save. Now I've got a group of heritage learners, and those students can be assigned different work from the other groups of students. Any questions so far?
Well, I'm
No questions. Great. Yes, please.
pretty much I see our PPS, we use Canvas in high school.
Mhm.
And it's very similar that you
Yeah.
assign an assignment and then, yeah, I just don't know because all my students use Canvas in all the
So
subjects. So
we
only
we
Japanese
integ-
if we use, yeah, this subject.
We-
I don't know how it works, but yeah, I understand the function and everything. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, that's a great question. And I just wanted to pipe in that we do offer integration with Canvas. So students who are signed into Canvas, they can access their books through Canvas, they can access their assignments through Canvas. It's a fairly seamless integration on that front. So that's very easy. And they don't need to remember a separate password. That's a very important point I want to make. They just sign into their Canvas and everything's linked up. Any other questions on the tech piece? Okay, great.
Sorry.
Yes,
I have
yes,
one
please.
more question. And you said this system is allow us to do the differentiated instruction. So what kind of differentiated instruction this system provide? Like, you know, like you said, the heritage learner and just the non-native speakers, and then I don't know what kind of differentiated instruction that we can do.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
in terms of differentiating, what I've seen teachers use Fluency Link to do is
Mhm.
to have more of a flipped classroom paradigm where
Mhm.
students who are operating, a little bit more quickly might have a separate assignment, and their assignment, that can be assigned by a teacher. You're going to read this section of the book, and you're going to do this assignment. And it's very, very easy to assign that as classwork or as homework, whereas other students might be given a different assignment, a different portion of the book. The flipped classroom in particular is empowered through Fluency Link because all of the hotspotted audio means that if you've got students with phones or tablets or a laptop, they don't necessarily have to rely on just the teacher to provide audio prompts. Students can be a little bit more motivated to work on their own by having this sort of right size instruction in a flipped classroom environment.
So pretty much like student will get choices,
Mhm.
like what kind of assignment they can do, that kind.
Exactly. And
Okay.
those choices should usually be motivated by teacher decisions. Obviously,
Okay,
teachers
yes.
know their students, but
Mhm.
you can have multiple groups. You can have, you can sort of assign different work to different students. And you can also clone assignments and edit them to fit your students' needs. So if you have some students that are stronger in speaking than in reading, you
Mhm.
can very, very easily, using the grouping function, assign those students more reading work while you assign the students that are, need more speaking practice or more listening practice, you can assign those
Right.
students more listening practice very easily.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. It looks like we had
Good. There's a question in the chat. Yeah.
So we had the question, were there features for communication or dialogue between teacher and student regarding assignments, etc.? And the answer is yes, absolutely. So I can show you approximately what that looks like. But when teachers get an assignment, all that they have to do when a student turns in an assignment, it's submit. Teachers then will have all of the student work right here in their Fluency Link portal. And here, let's see, here's an assignment that has been completed but not evaluated. So here's a question that is pending evaluation. Here, a student has done a true false question, and then there's a speaking question. So here on the true false question, this was auto graded because it's true false. The answer is true and the student got this right. But teachers can also enter feedback and say, you know, whatever they want. This is all written feedback here, but it's very, very easy for teachers to say, good work. And then when a teacher listens to a student response, I'll just play this really quickly. It's probably me speaking. Here it's, oh, that's great. It's actually someone speaking Japanese. It's actually a student. A teacher can then grade that and say, oh, this is wonderful, or, you know, give constructive feedback as well and say, you know, you used vocabulary correctly, but your pronunciation needs work. I need to learn how to type as well. And then they just hit submit. And that goes directly to students. That's a little notification on the student's page as soon as the student sees that. I will just mention that teachers also do see performance reports. They can check by assign date, they can check by due date, and they can see, you know, kind of data not only on student usage, but on student performance here as well. Any other questions on the technical piece before I pass it back to Scott and Ruth? Yes, someone in the chat. Can teachers respond in Japanese to students? Yes, Japanese language, Japanese text is supported by Fluency Link internally as well as on assessments. Great. Well, I'm gonna pass it back to Scott or Ruth. I'm gonna stop my share, but please, you know, feel free to, if any other questions that are relevant to the technology piece do occur to you in the next 20 minutes, please do feel free to pop them into the chat.
Yeah, so if anyone have any questions, you know, for the books or for the company, and also, yeah, technical question, if you have, Dory is still here.
Yeah, so right now, yeah, really just we want to respond to any questions that you have.
Yeah. No, it seems that
Okay.
they understand everything we talked.
Well, good, and
Yeah,
certainly,
sure.
you know, through Mary, any follow-ups, if people think of something afterwards. Oh, there's another note in the
Question?
chat.
Yeah. Wondering about speaking.
Let's see. Okay, was also wondering about the student's ability to respond, comment, etc. Can you take that one, Dory?
It's also
Sure.
happening.
So students, once students' work has been evaluated, there isn't, you know, there aren't opportunities on Fluency Link proper for an ongoing dialogue. Beyond that, students can, you know, submit assignments, and then teachers can comment on those student assignments. But if students have, you know, ongoing feedback or want to have a conversation, that wouldn't be possible through the assessment feature specifically. But you know, in a purely remote scenario where students could not email the teacher easily, or could not send a teacher a message on Canvas, or could not speak to a teacher in person. There are other methods for student-teacher communication. Students can upload things and can send teachers messages in other ways. We got a question as far as hiragana, katakana learning. Do you offer something special? I don't know if Ruth, you or Scott could take that.
Yeah, so this is about books, I think. It's talking about our books. We have a lot of, special things, in fact, for the books. So I can share you something.
Okay.
Let me see. Can I see my screen now?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. Wait again. So now you can see.
Yeah, we're back to the slides.
Yeah, but it's not the one. Yes, here is all about the books. So what we can offer, so for example, the vocabulary. So we have the vocabulary with pronunciation audios. We also have additional vocabulary with the list and the PowerPoint, vocabulary image, workbook access vocabulary, and how to have the vocabulary quiz. So that we have a lot of things, for different, for example, for vocabulary, for kanji we have the PowerPoint, we have flashcard, we have images, writing practice workbook, and the reading practice workbook. There's all kinds of things here. You can see this is for kanji. We have PowerPoint, we have textbook, flashcard. Yeah, except for the katakana, right? So we can have the others, we have vocabulary. There's all kinds of things. I cannot tell you all this, in detail. We have sentence patterns and grammar, and then grammar for audio and model, model sentences. Extras the grammar exercise for each grammar point. So you can see that also from the digital books, exercise, and also cultural notes. Also have authentic materials. Yeah, so I think just also have communicative, activities. A lot of activities, from the teacher resources, and the teachers maybe share with students. So teachers, we have a teacher's guide to go. That is really big file. So we have the lesson dialogue with audio, lesson in the manga. So I think that students all like it. My daughter like animes, things, and vocabulary, language in context, and also a lot of cultural notes activities. So all these activities worksheet, you also can go to French Lake to find something. And that will be a lot. And also for the exercise, for example, workbook. So we have lesson dialogue with audios, vocabulary, grammar, cultural notes, activities. And all this is just the workbooks, exercises included. And assessment, and just now Dory mentioned about assessment. For that assessment account, there's so diversity for the assessment tabs. So we have the lesson dialogue with audio, manga, vocabulary, and also account a lot of activities and worksheets and work practice, and also the lesson reviews and review expressions. Yeah. So I think that a lot of cultural things also included. Yeah, the crew is just similar. Yeah, I just think that this is not a limited time. I cannot show you all these things, but just let me know what part you're really interested in, so then we can forward some file to you. That's it. Let's see, another question. You post.
Yeah, we're about the differentiated learning.
I can take that.
Yeah.
I'm not on the editorial team, and full disclosure, I unfortunately don't speak Japanese. So I can't assess that perfectly, but I can say that it depends on the level as any, it's a difficult question to answer because it depends on how varied you need materials. Yes, if you've got more advanced students, there are more advanced materials within one book for for advanced students or for heritage learners, as well as more basic materials. But if you've got students that are just at completely wildly different levels, it's all a matter of scale. And so that's why we've got multiple books, and it's certainly possible to assign multiple books to one classroom and have a flipped classroom where you're using multiple books. That's not a problem at all. And that's very, very easy to empower using Fluency Link. And in a way that makes sense for students to kind of share instruction time, even if they are at wildly different levels. We also got a question about updates or changes anticipated with these textbooks. Scott, can you speak to that one, or Ruth, can you speak to that one?
Ruth, can you address that? Thank you.
Right. Yeah, I think this answer is yes. Definitely, we are keeping on to update for the new versions. And then if the 5 years, 6 years, we will just launch the new books, but not new books, right? Just a new edition.